Rosanna is a project that I've been very supportive of since its beginning. We've
Right.
got it. It actually came out of Melbourne and Jerusalem originally. Now it's worldwide, but and we do have a chapter here in Victoria. So and got a brand new CEO too. So anyway, yeah,
So this is
it
the
probably
one.
doesn't need to be talked about. I mean, I'd be happy to do a presentation on it at some stage as a major thing for the club, but rather than take up part of tonight.
Well, I think that would be a really good idea because
Mm.
it's a fantastic project.
Yeah,
Is
we could get Ron could come on and talk about it as well because he's the driver in Victoria.
it's the
Mm.
one with the doctors, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's medical training,
yeah,
Palestinians and Israelis
yeah,
doing it together at a couple of hospitals in Jerusalem. I
yeah.
shall get out of your hair or I'll be in strife with my daughter, my
Yeah.
grandson, and everybody else.
Yeah. Don, can I suggest you reach out to Stephen A about coordinating a date for doing the presentation?
Certainly, certainly.
Beautiful.
I'll give you a call, Steve. I shall be back if you're still here in half an hour.
Okay, Arnie.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, so yeah, that project, Rosanna, people may have heard about that. It's been going for a little while now, where it started with a young girl, Rosanna, who I'm not sure if she was in an accident or she was unwell in Palestine and they couldn't help her there. So she was taken over the border to Israel. And through that, doctors from Palestine have been connecting with doctors in Israel and learning and working together to try to help people with difficulties. So it's had a lot of traction and hopefully it will continue. So once everything over there settles down, maybe. But anyway, it'd be great if Don can elaborate and talk about this. Okay, so let's go back to this chart. That's looking much better, nice and full a bit now. Okay, so um, you can read through them. We've got the emails. We've got Janet, which is our representative for Ryman.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've got
The Rotary oversees recycling of the playgrounds, and it's run. My connections via Rotary of Lilydale, but I think it's actually at Kensington and Preston and quite a few other clubs
it
that
is
are actually running the program. We're just supporting them.
it is. So Lilydale is not District 9800, is it?
No.
No, so it is in 9800, has
Hmm.
been for a number of years, this project.
But the good thing is it's actually multi-district because
Yes,
I've
yeah,
pulled down a playground and helped them pack it into container to go overseas. Well,
yeah,
we had about 9 playgrounds.
yeah.
And,
So the thing is with this, we, as in people from the club, can either join Lilydale if they want to do
mm,
some volunteer hours or connect with other clubs
mm.
in our district and do the playground recycling.
So what I did is I actually put a link on the side here, which then can now I'm not too sure. Can you guys see the screen they just opened, or are you still
Yeah,
looking at the site?
yeah,
Yeah. Yes. So I actually put a link there so that if anyone wants to scour through it, then they can, if there's a link to the actual project or whatever, then it makes it easier for people to access it.
yeah. So yeah, okay. So that's another one that is ongoing um, and available for anyone who would like to join that particular program. Okay, moving down, the Sleeping Rough is actually happening on Friday, this Friday, as you know, Friday,
Mhm.
Saturday. I spent the day making the soup. We've got 6 huge tubs now all ready to go. And the bread will be coming tomorrow and I'll make the sandwiches. So that's all off and running.
Mhm.
I think they're looking at about 60 people now. which is a little better, but not as many as they had hoped to get. Okay, and it's going to be 31 or something on Friday, so not sure who wants to have soup in that weather, but anyway.
Cold soup.
Yes, could be. Okay, so he's put in Project Rosanna. It'd be good if Don can organise a speaker night and talk about that project, because it is pretty special, actually.
There's probably another one from him as well. Joint training of Jewish, and Palestinian medical students. Is that Don, or is that you? Or
Oh, that's Project Rosanna.
oh, right. Okay.
He's got it. He's got in the second column, in the second row.
Yep.
Yeah, that all needs to be put in the one row.
Yep. All right. Okay. Well, I'll let whoever. What we maybe should do is whoever owns the project should maybe update the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Do we think that's probably the best way? Because
Yeah,
then it's going to get people used to doing it.
Yeah.
And it's probably actually just another thought. As we've rolled down here, we've actually lost the headings and stuff. My thought is, do we maybe put this into a spreadsheet, because then we can actually hold this so that the column or the information rolls is fixed, and then as we roll up, only the contents rolls up and the header actually stays the same.
Yeah, on each new page, yeah.
Yeah, on each page. So
Yeah,
would you be happy, like again, I'm sort of stuck at home at the moment. Would you be happy for me to maybe regurgitate this into a spreadsheet, which will then give it a bit more functionality?
Yeah,
Because we could do, we can do things like put another column in: active, proposal, approved, rejected, all that type of stuff.
Yep, that would be terrific. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, move down to Richard with your.
I had a brain fart.
Yep.
So this going
that you want to talk about.
So this sort of came from Jen and I doing a bit of hiking around Murrindindi. And when we were walking along the trails and stuff like that, all the signage is really in poor condition, and quite a few of the signage was actually out of date because they've got quite a lot of restructuring happening at the moment. And then we were thinking about how could we create a fundraiser at the same time. So for E-clubs and most or a lot of clubs, we need to rethink how we do fundraising. So we need to try and generate funds when we're not standing at the sausage sizzle or selling tickets and that type of stuff. So the thought that we had is, as you're walking around, say, a rail trail or something like that, at the points of interest, you could have a QR code, and that QR code would then just open up a web page, and that web page would have all the information regarding that particular location. On that page, you could also have a donate button, which would be a voluntary thing. If you would like to donate, you can click on that button and it could take you to My Cause or whatever, and that then could give people the option of donate to $5, $10, etc. The thing that I liked about it is, the QR code sign would be significantly easier to maintain than a big detailed sign that someone then does graffiti on and or scribbles on it or tries to pull it down. And then you could have a Rotary sign, supported by Rotary or something, which then might trigger them their acknowledgement that this is a Rotary thing. Then they get the information about wherever they're at. And then there's the donation thing as well. So I just wanted to see what people's thoughts are on that. Do we think that's something that's technically possible and something that we wouldn't mind doing a trial on? And I was thinking of maybe reaching out to the Lilydale Club, because we do have the Warburton Trail in our backyard, and we could do a section of the Warburton Trail, also find out what challenges there are, like with councils and that type of stuff, about being able to put up a little sign and that sort of thing. I just thought it might be a good guinea pig for working out whether this could be something that then could be a fundraiser, very much like the tool one that Saxon set up, that just gurgitates in the background. And if someone knocks off a QR code or something like that, we've got members that periodically walk the trails and that type of stuff. They could say, oh, code number 37's been removed. We just print up another one and put it out there instead of a whole sign. So, yep, just people's thoughts. It's like I said, it's just a quick brain dump.
I think it's a great idea, and I did have a question around council approvals. You need to.
Yeah, so you need to work with them and let them know. But yeah, it's just an idea. Particularly with some of the trials I've gone on, you look at the sign and you can't even read where you actually are or half the information. So, and then I thought a donation thing in the background might be an opportunity to make a few dollars here and there.
I think it's a good idea.
Anyone got concerns or anything that you think we should not explore it at least?
I think it's a great idea in principle. It's yeah, I guess it's just aligning it to the causes that we promote and how we promote it.
And it could be the donate page could be emails.
Yeah. Well, I was even thinking if it's on walking trails, it could be for environmental causes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So if you want to have a bit of a read through my brain dump, it's there, and what I'll try and do is keep it up to date. What I might do is I'll actually put a proposal document together, which I've actually already done. I just didn't link it here. And then I'll get the proposal document updated and then maybe present it next project meeting. Okay. So that's, whoops, sorry. Oh, yes. So the other one that I might speak to is through the Rotary community group. One of the things that we've been talking about is doing a blood bank drive. Again, just promoting donating blood for those people that can donate blood. We even spoke about for those people that aren't able to give blood or don't wish to give blood, because there's people in both those categories, that we try and maybe do a clean up your area type scenario. So what they want to do in May is have an action. It's supposed to be the 15th of May, it's supposed to be the Rotary Action Day. But we're saying, well, why don't we use the month as a month to trigger specific actions and try and have a coordinated multi-E-Club activity. And we thought the blood bank would be a nice, easy one because it's not location specific. And we've already got a E-Club Australia group for donating blood, so that any E-Club member and all their friends could say when they give blood, I'd like this to be linked to the E-Club Australia group. And then what we can do is start posting information about how many lives we've saved, how many donations we've had, and that type of stuff. So I'm actually leading the team with that. So what we've asked everyone to do is go back to their clubs, being the E-Clubs, see what people's thoughts are. Are we happy to support that? And then at our next meeting, which will be in about 3 weeks, we'll just vote saying, okay, are we going to do the blood drive? Do we have the support? Yes or no? And if we're not going to do the blood drive, what would be an alternative multi-E-Club activity that we could do?
Can we meet with some of these other E-Clubs?
Absolutely. We actually want to try and coordinate that. Probably the challenge with that is when, because we all meet at different times and frequencies and that type of thing. What we could do is, and a suggestion I put is that we actually have a location that we register where all our meetings are, and then we as a club could say, all right, well, instead of having our Wednesday meeting, we might on Thursday afternoon or something get a whole lot of club members to attend, the Passport Club meeting or something like that. So, but the intent is to try and get a lot more E-Club interactivity. We've got guys in New Zealand and all around Australia. So there is an opportunity there. And it probably would be a good idea that each of the clubs maybe does, a 10-minute presentation of what activities they're working on. So, like, we could say our signature projects, the emails, and food related because of the expertise we have. And that might trigger some conversations with some of the other clubs that go, oh, yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. So we're talking about that type of stuff at the moment.
I think there's a lot of possibilities that could snowball off this, actually. Having more than one E-club get together, and we have a big,
Yeah. Well, there's 8. There's 8 clubs in the cluster or the community group.
Right.
Okay.
Where do you find that information?
Well, we haven't. It's only I could share the Rotary Community Group meetings that Amanda sends. Both Don and I have been attending as representatives of the club. I can tell you it's been really, really dry. Like, we spent. Sorry, I'm looking sideways because you guys are on the side. Sorry. We spent 3 2-hour meetings deciding what name we were going to call the group. And I just said to them, I've had enough. Make a decision and let's move on to actually doing stuff. So I can tell you the first 4 or 5 meetings, extremely dry. Now they're actually starting to talk about actions and that type of stuff, which is good, which is where the blood bank and trying to get the communications going and that type of stuff. So the community group's a great idea. It's had a really, really slow start in my mind. But we're actually starting to do stuff now, which is good.
Good. Always takes time, I think, to get things happening.
Yeah. Everyone's got it. They tried to run it by committee, and it's great to get everyone's input, but you can't get everyone to go 100%. Yes, we agree. Sometimes you just got to say, okay, we've got a majority agreement. Let's move on. Otherwise, you'll never decide what the colour of the wheel's going to be.
Okay, so moving on. Community initiated. So examples that are currently in place are like my Nourish program, and the opportunities for volunteers are every Monday from 1 till 5, or fortnightly on a Sunday where we do Cook Sunday. So I'm actually getting quite a lot of volunteers through Rotary, interestingly. Greg Harbour has been feeding me leads, people that contact him, and we've had people come on board. Chad's in East Melbourne, they've fed leads in. My Monday team has Kathy Noble, who's the president of Chad's in East Melbourne, so she's a regular that comes. So there is a really good connection with Rotary and Nourish, and that's grown, I would say, over the years. So that's one opportunity. Another opportunity, again, in the same space, is the Christchurch mission. John, I'll hand over to you to elaborate more on that.
Yeah, so it's pretty well like you've written in there, Lillian. Sorry, I've just updated that now. Even though I spoke to you today, I forgot about updating this. I didn't realise it was the project meeting tonight. But basically, yeah, Christchurch Community Centre, or the Christchurch Mission in St Kilda on upper top end of Ackland Street. We provide meals on a Thursday night. They do also do emergency relief during the week, Monday to Friday. But where we really need the volunteers is on that Thursday night. Just basically, we start serving from 5:30, so that's where I've just sort of been playing around with the times there. But and again, primarily we just need volunteers from like 5:30 to 7:30. We keep the room open till generally 8 o'clock when the last people leave. But in general, we've pretty well run out of food by 7:30, and then it's just we have other people who come in to clean up afterwards. So it's weekly, like it says there, and it's really generally the local community, but we do know we get people from, Pran, even some people that potentially come down from Richmond or Port Melbourne, as more and more people are looking for food during the week. So, but anybody who's available, welcome to come to that. Kat's the volunteer coordinator, so I've put her details, but if people want to reach out through me, happy to coordinate that as well. Thanks, Lily.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's a really great operation that you've got there.
Sorry, and I just want to say thanks because I know, again, Penny, who's the coordinator or the manager, office manager, and Marie, we did that one night where we did emails for the Christchurch mission. They were very appreciative of that. So any opportunity where we can do that again, I know they'd be very grateful.
Are they interested in taking more meals, John?
They are, yeah, no, they are, Lily, and I might add in here, I'll get onto it as well, but I was just, as Lily knows, but I was made chair of the Port Phillip Community Group last night at our latest board meeting, and they also do food relief and pantry and that sort of stuff. So thanks, Richard. It's like it was sort of like everybody else stepped back, and I was left standing at the front. So. But I actually mentioned that to them last night as well about that we do these emails, so they would actually be interested in that as well. But I can talk about that separately. But I might actually add them on here, whether it's from a volunteering point of view or even a donation point of view, but just another charity that I'm supporting over here in St Kilda.
I think that's a good idea because the intent of this is that apart from club projects and partnering with other clubs, individuals are also involved in doing work out in the community. So if you could add that, it would be very good.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. Yeah.
And, we'll just check with Saxon how many meals we've got left. We've got another cook up in a couple of weeks' time, and we do need a beneficiary. So, John,
Okay.
if you can find out if they would like to take the meals, find out if they like to come and join us on that night.
I'll do a count tomorrow, but I believe there's probably easily about 90 meals there. I was keeping 38-40 back for you, Lily, and I did go to do a donation last week to 2 food banks who on the same day had been given a donation by Aldi, and who'd given them lots of stuff and they had no freezer space left. That should have been cleared by this week. So let me know, because I was going to make a donation down to the Gisborne Food Bank.
Okay, or alternatively, John, maybe the Marie and Penny would like to come to our next cook session, and then they would be the beneficiaries.
Yeah. So the next one's on the 10th, is that right? 10th of December? 10th of December, yeah.
Yeah, 10th of December.
Yeah. Yeah, no, look, Saxon, you take what you were going to do, and then, but we can chat about that before then. But I'm actually volunteering there tomorrow night, so I'll ask about that anyway. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, moving.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question of Saxon?
Yeah.
The places where you were talking about they didn't have any freezer space left, do they have room for some more freezers? Because we have some excess freezers.
Oh, I wouldn't know, but I can ask them.
Would you?
Yeah. What are they? Are they chest or stand up?
What happened is that Ryman organised these freezers to go to my aged care centre, and then they took them, and then they upgraded, and so a chest freezer, which is almost brand new, is sitting in the corner waiting to be put somewhere, even landfill.
Oh, don't do that.
So no, I know that. So that's the size of that's a full size fridge. There's also a half size one available.
Right. Well, do not let it go to landfill. Reach out to me before that happens. I mean, even if we took one and put it in in storage somewhere and kept our meals in them, because sometimes it's a bit of a pain in our cool room at number 1. So even if it was used for that purpose, that would be useful.
Well, I did originally say that I would be happy to have a freezer at my place.
Yeah, it's just getting them there, though. It's a pain, you know what I mean? Like, it's just double handling. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
I can't even get them half the time because of the time I finish at night. It's very hard to even get them out of the place, let alone get them to a halfway house and then out again. But if we, occasionally having a chest freezer at the venue for them, but I'll certainly ask Gisborne Food Bank. I will reach out to them tomorrow and say, have you got room for another chest freezer? And they will say, give me the dimensions, and then I'll call you and say, give me the dimensions, and then I'll tell them the dimensions and we'll see what happens.
So it's actually, I don't know if chest freezer is quite the right description. It's the size of a fridge, the size and shape of a fridge.
Oh, a stand-up.
It's a stand-up, yeah, not a chest.
I don't know, I always think of chest freezers as being horizontal rather than vertical. Right.
Yeah, well,
okay.
So you don't have to bend down into it. You open the door like you open a fridge, and it's got lots of shelves.
Yep. Look, I'm pretty confident they'll take it then, because I just, having been in their back area where they have their fridges, they didn't have a lot of length space, but height-wise, I reckon better. Takes up less floor space. Yeah. Perfect. All right, leave it with me.
Okay, we just have to find somebody with a trailer and a tow bar to
it'll go in my ute.
Move it round.
If it's a stand-up one, it'll go in my ute.
Okay, all right. We'll work.
You know what I mean? I just lean it on the back and take the cover off, and off we go.
Okay.
All right, could be a winner. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay. Richard.
Yep.
Market.
Yeah, just a monthly market. So, Lilydale Club's been running a monthly market, I think it's about 12 or 13 years. So they normally need support for it. So that runs on the first Sunday of every month. And they normally need support mainly for the setup and the pack-up, because that's when most of the labour is required for gazebos and that type of thing. I normally help with the coordination of doing the setup and that. So it's, again, if any members happen to be in the Yarra Valley, Lilydale area on the first Sunday of the month, and if you wanted to do an hour or two in the morning or an hour or two in the afternoon on the Sunday, it's there. So the details are all there, etc. I will say that the Lilydale Club's actually doing a bit of a review of the market. The attendance and the dollars that they're getting from the market has been slowly deteriorating over the years, which was part of the reason why Jen and I were chatting so much about the alternative for generating funds, and that's what triggered the track and the QR code type scenario. They used to make $3,500 a month on it. It's now around the 1,500, so it's halved, but it's quite labour intensive, and the council aren't supporting us quite as well as we'd like. They charge us $350 to have the council door open so people can use the toilets. So they're reviewing it at the moment. One thing that they might consider is making it that it's a spring, autumn type market, so just over half of the year, because in the winter months it even drops down even more. So they're just reviewing the value of the market and that type of thing, but it's still going. They've got a December one. It'll go January. Won't have one in January. They don't have one on the 1st of January. But they're just reviewing it at the moment, just so that you guys are aware, just the cost return.
So why do you think, the trade has decreased? Is it just not people coming through?
There's thousands. In the Yarra Valley, there would be 4 markets every weekend. So everyone's doing it. And it really is dependent on the location. We used to be at Bellberg Park, which was really quite nice, but it's not an all-weather location. So in winter, it became a bog hole. So then we thought of the council car park. It doesn't have the same feel. So there's quite a few elements into it. But I think the competition is the biggest thing. And there's a lot of professional people that are running markets nowadays. We've got volunteers doing a bit of Facebook stuff. So it's a challenge for them at the moment.
Interesting. Okay, so that's all we have at the moment. Now, if anyone is involved in community initiatives, then come into this spreadsheet. It will be a spreadsheet, and put this down. Like, I mean, other things that I do in terms of the community, I work with the King David School quite a few times a year and work with students. I also have scouts. I had the Brighton Scouts last week. So, although everything I do is in the food space, but it's with different community groups, and they are ongoing. So, I would classify it as a community project. As a Rotarian, this is what I'm doing to help the community. So that's what I'd like you to try to look at for yourselves, things that you might do and be involved with the community.
So for me, it's interesting. This is our first take on doing this. And like, I know there's stacks of stuff that's missing, but it's nearly 2 pages of actual things that the members of the clubs are doing. So for a club that's not very active, we seem to be really quite active. So it's how you sell it and market it is right. what I'm trying to get at, which is, again, I pinged a thing to Belinda and Steve, I think, about accessing the web page. And Saxon, I think I might have sent it to you, I can't remember, my friend, about who can access the club webpage for actually putting what they've been up to on it. So I don't know if every club member can do it. If the answer to that is no, then the question would probably be, should we? Or do we have somebody that actually does control it? In which case, then, if you want to make a post, you send it to them. So I'm just not too sure what the members think would be the best way to go. My thoughts would be we could put it up there. If the board or others don't think something's appropriate, then we could always remove it. But I think we're all Rotarians doing good in their local community. I think if we're doing something, for me, it would be great to be able to just drop it in there, because then it should go straight across to the Instagram as well, which is, again, just another media for trying to connect out the world that we're actually doing stuff.
I think this spreadsheet proves or is completely in line with what the E-Club is about in terms of that, even though we have a club project, the fact that we are very diverse and we have no borders, do we? And so we can go out and do good things in the community as individuals, but also as a Rotarian. So this shows that it's very much part of the ethos, I think, of the club.
Yep, excellent. Okay, so it's nearly 1:45, so I'm going to hand back to Richard for any further business. Yep. So the only thing that we probably really need to have a bit of a think about and a chat about is got the AGM next week. And at this stage, we've not got a president-elect. So we need to make sure that, there is a pipeline for continuing on. My intent is not to take on the presidency again next year. So, it's really out to the members to, someone to step forward. I've reached out and spoken to a few people, and they're not able to, just to work commitments, etc. So that's completely understandable. But again, it's the role is as big as we want to make it. So again, it's just reaching out to the members, because after all, my understanding is there's no president, there's no club. So we'll hand it over to you guys. It's really for someone to step forward. It's not a big gig. I think it's good to share it around. this is my third time being president, so I'm more than happy to hand it over to somebody else and support if need be. Other than that, we might do a quick around the room. So Janet, you're top left for me. So how's things?
Hello.
And anything to raise?
No, I'm still working on the books, so I'm hoping we haven't got Don with us at the moment. I'm assuming that I send the final bits of paper to him to distribute to the club. Would that be correct?
Yep. That sounds good
and
to me.
Stephen, are you preparing a report?
I mean, in general, over the last few years, we haven't had written ones from the president. Generally, a little bit verbally. Given that I gave a talk at the changeover, I don't think I need to do another one. But at the same time, I put this to the club. If people think it's worth us having this precedent of doing written reports, I'm definitely happy to do one. I just hate to leave from the club knowing that we don't necessarily want to be a club that does too many things we don't need to. So I guess show of hands in favor of a written report. Okay, sounds like not required. I'll definitely be there, and I'll give a talk if there's anything required. But yeah, otherwise no further from me.
So is there any bylaws or that type of thing that we not breaching?
No, so as the bylaws and governance go, it's reviewing the meeting minutes of the last AGM.
Yep.
So that part's just stock standard normal presentation of reports. The only one there that really comes up as a one with any kind of requirement is our financial reports, obviously Treasurer's report for the last year, so our P&L, balance sheet, that sort of thing. And then going on from that, the election of new office bearers. Yep. Those are the key bits. There's no other bits that we're really mandated to.
Yep. All right.
I do. May I say something? It's really interesting that as I have delved into the books, there's a lot of stuff that's happened through the books that I had no idea about when I joined the club. And I'm just wondering, and I'm just putting it out there, is if we want to attract new members, and I suspect that we will occasionally get other Rotarians who, for whatever reason, prefer to join an E-club. But some of them are actually interested in the history of the club. And so how do they get a history? Like, for instance, John Wall is, our newest member. How does he know what E-Club has done? The only way to know these things is by written reports. And that's the reason why I'm actually endeavouring to go back and do the reports on QuickBooks from the start of the project trading and project account, just so we've got a history. And that would be my only argument about having a written report. It's like, just say, for instance, John, I'm going to use you as an example. Just say you said, Janet, what the hell is this E-Club about? What have you done for the last 5 years? And we could produce 5 president's reports that are less than a page, 4 paragraphs, and we'll say, well, this is what we've done. Does that make sense? Our history is really vague, guys, I have to say.
If you ask me who all of our presidents have been since the founding of our club 12 years ago, I think, which I should probably know as well, I couldn't give you a list of all of our presidents. I could probably roughly scrabble it together, but schmeh. So to that point, if that's something the club feels like would be valuable, I can do something, cram that down to a page, and do it in such a format whereby it's not the president writing, I am very proud of our club over the last 12 months, continuing the best traditions of Paul Harris. Like, we don't need anything like that, but even just like something to say, here's some of the projects, here's some of the fundraising, here's just like a bullet point thing of like a year in review infographic almost. So what I will do, given that it seems like we think this would be useful, but we're not too sure if it perfectly will, I'll draft something. I'll throw it forward at the next meeting. If we can accept it into the AGM. If people think it's cool, we can continue it next year. If it's like, yeah, that wasn't too useful, then to history it goes.
I've got a slightly different mindset. If you want to find out what we've been doing, I'd say just scan through the Facebook page or something like that. Because if we capture what we're doing in the Facebook page, because I can tell you I've been Rotary 12, 13, 15 years, something like that. I've never read a club report page end to end.
And that's it. Like the way I
some of them are quite long, though, guys. Yeah, I mean, I do. Some of them are quite long, though, Richard, and I do agree with that. But if it was a one-pager, and I think, Stephen, from my point of view, it's more what were the key achievements throughout the year, you know, and that's where you can condense it down into something that's not long. Yeah.
It's something if I was to be asked, like, and to Janet's point, like, what have we been up to over the last year? If someone was to ask, did we get up to over that year? Here's a one-pager. And again, a lot of it probably will be like me scroll through the Facebook, grab some photos and just like, boop, 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 I don't know, something like that. And that just kind of becomes the one-pager for the year.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy to drum up something for that will take me maybe half an hour at most to put together, which realistically I think fits the notion of our club. We don't want something that's going to be bombastic and over the top, but it's worth us experimenting to see if this might be something useful. Oh, Richard's on mute as well.
You're on mute, Richard.
Yeah, so let's give it a try. Yeah. Again, I like the idea of if somebody is interested in the club, I'd actually point them to the Facebook page to scan through because then they can see the different things. But I can also see the value in having a very quick snapshot, and we can put it in the archive, and it's not a huge laborious thing. The Lilydale Club used to get books printed, and it was like 37 pages and colour and blah, blah, blah. And the first thing it did is went in the bottom of the bookshelf. So for me, it was really low value adding.
And I think the challenge for you, Stephen, is to write as few words as possible.
Yeah.
And please don't be honoured. Just, like...
This is what we've been doing.
Don't be honoured or grateful. Just say what we did.
Yeah. And see, what eventually will happen is this project list will be what we've been doing.
ChatGPT, write me a letter. Anyway, no, look, I can make something up for that, but yeah, I mean, realistically, if someone came to me and said, I might want to join your club, but you must give me the last 5 years of your president's reports, I'd be saying, bye.
Yeah.
Realistically, like, if you don't want to check out Facebook, if you don't want to do that, and you want to read president's reports, you're probably not our sort of Rotarian. I'm just thinking. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Let's experiment with it. It'll either go well or it might not. We'll find out.
Excellent. Lily, you had your hand up?
I did. I sent that document to you about e-meals.
Yes.
So I'm thinking maybe something that we could do is go out as guest speakers to other clubs and share about this particular project, and then and help them get started if they want to do something like this in their areas.
So that's actually a good thing. So like there's replication or what do we call it in here? Expansion opportunities. What I might do is when I convert this into the Excel sheet, I'll actually also have like links or something, and that will link to that document that we've been drafting up about how other clubs might be able to use the emails model. I still think it needs a little bit of work because it's got to be written for people that haven't been doing it for a long time. So, it could be things like what's the minimum requirements? Well, you need some refrigeration, you need some cooking, that type of stuff. So, it's been written really good for us, but we've been doing it for a couple of years now. So, like, if you were a complete newbie, it's almost like a checklist. Okay, before we do this, we need to, do you have a kitchen? Do you have cooling capabilities? Do you have the utensils? Do you have a end user? Let's not just cook it because we're going to have our opportunity to cook it. So I think there's a couple of things we need to perhaps give it to somebody that's never done an emails before and say, if you got this, would you be able to do that?
100%. Totally agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll actually add. So tomorrow I'll actually take on the task of converting this to an Excel spreadsheet so that then we get a bit more functionality on how we can use it. And then I'll actually link in the draft emails document. And then any of the members could, and I'd suggest the members, if they get a chance to have a read through it, and don't be precious, say, oh, God, I don't like how that's written, or, what does that mean, and that type of thing. So that then when we actually give it to somebody, the chance of them being successful is higher, other than us just thinking, oh, yeah, we know how this works. They look at it and go, I've got no idea what this is really saying.
Yeah. And look, to be fair, I haven't even looked at it yet, so I will endeavour to do that, if not in a plane, in early December.
Yeah. Well, it's a draft. It's
a draft, yeah. And it's going to be for a couple of months, something like this, to do it well is actually going to take a little bit of time to go through it.
It's really our straw man, and, we just build on this. So that's great.
Excellent. Now, the other thing, and unfortunately Madhu had to leave, she's reached out to me. She's doing some work in Calcutta with, hang on, I'm just trying to find it, sorry, with orphans, and India's going into the winter, and they've got 50 orphans there in a refuge, and she's asked whether we could buy blankets for them. So it's 50 blankets. She's given me a conversion cost. So it's, I'm not too sure what the currency of India is, INR, 850 per blanket. And it's a conversion of $1 Australian equals 54.73. Comes out about $750 to buy the 50 blankets. So it's really, she wanted to raise whether that's something that we would support. Do we have the funds that we can tuck away that's not being utilised or not earmarked? And what's the club thought on donating enough money to buy those blankets?
Yeah, well, my 2 cents is we absolutely do it. We won't be spending the money that we approved for the soup blender, because the soup thing wasn't happening and there's probably not an immediate need for it. But my 2 cents is we have the money to do that, and I will kick it off with a $200 donation to get that one started.
Beautiful. Any
Can
other
I just ask,
Janet?
Are you sure that that's how much it's going to cost? Because my reading of because I did read this, the letter.
Yep.
And what Madhu, and my reading of it was that it was going to cost like about $50 per blanket.
So
maybe
50,
I've got that wrong.
Yeah, so it's 54.73 INR per Australian dollar, and it's $850 per blanket. So what I did is I divided 850 by 54.73 and then times it by 50. If that's how many blankets.
You just said 850 per blanket, but I assume you meant for the total number.
So it's in whatever the currency is in
Indian rupiah, Richard.
Yep. So
Indian rupiah. Yep.
Yep. So it's 850. Oh damn! Sorry, hang on.
Yeah, I think that's what he meant.
If you just
850 Indian rupiah per blanket.
Correct.
So divide that by 50 gives you. Yeah.
Let me share my screen. I've just got the details up. So
Thank
850.
You.
Let's see.
$776.
Yeah.
Lily's still got her.
Hang on, I'll stop sharing. There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
So for this one, is that going to let me screen share? There we go. Okay, cool. So, yep. So for anyone who hasn't seen the email yet, so this one went around. So the cost of the blanket is 850 rupiah, and the exchange rate is 54.73. So that's $1 Australian to 54. So per blanket, $15.
Yeah.
And bring that up in the calculator. So that didn't work very well. So 0.46 times 50, we end up about $773 Australian. So say $800 rounded because exchange rates move and there's fees and everything like that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks, mate.
Well, I've certainly got the money. We can do it. I just want to make sure that where we're sending the money is a verified bank account, because we don't want to happen again what happened for the Ukraine donation.
Yeah.
That we lost almost half the money and it came back to us.
So I've got it there. I think in the email there was actually an attachment with some of the details. So what I'll do is I'll ensure that you get a copy of that, Lily, Janet. And then what I might say is, I think, well, assuming that everything is good, the club is happy to proceed.
Yeah.
Everyone's thumbs up?
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So now what we'll do is, so in theory, we're happy to proceed. What we'll do is now just make sure financially it can be transferred across. So, Janet, I might give the approval to Madhu to reach out to you to coordinate for the money to come across. How does that sound?
That sounds fine. Thank you.
Beautiful. All right. I think we've just made a difference, which is really good. Okay, so continuing with around the room. John, you're top right for me, my friend.
Yep, no, nothing much to report from me, mate. Just in Saturday week, I'm heading off to the Paul Harris function down at Williamstown, so I'll do a update after that.
Beautiful. Stephen A., you're next for me.
Not much to report from me.
No worries.
Looking forward to the Christmas break.
Yep. Yes, and I will phone the place tomorrow about our Christmas. Lily, you're next for me.
Yeah, well, as I said, we've got the sleep out Friday night in Central Park and the breakfast on Saturday. Then next week I've got year 8 and 9 students. For Wednesday and Thursday, I've got them the entire 2 days. So that'll probably kill me. I have to work out what I'm going to make with them and how to keep them busy. And also on Sunday, I'm doing a lot of catering stuff. I've got a big concert that I am catering for on Sunday night this week. And then another big event in a week or two after that. So a lot of my time now is spent catering and cooking and stuff.
Excellent. So you're moving around okay now?
Yes, thank goodness. I can.
Very good.
Yes.
Don, you're next on my list, and I'm a bit sorry, mate, because you've got 15 things been allocated to you whilst you're away.
I sort of half expected that. Yeah, I've just removed all my credentials. So, hey,
all good. So you're aware we're actually recording this, so you can have a look through what we were discussing later on, mate.
Excellent, good. Some of you will be aware that for the past 4 years, I've been mentoring a rotoractor in Sierra Leone, who's is a young man, 28, 9, married. His wife has just suffered a spontaneous abortion, whatever you like to call it, of 2 quite advanced fetus, and he's struggling a bit with that. So we've been talking tonight. He's back on. He'll be back online. Yes. Oh, I thought I had a visitor at the door. And the situation at the moment for them is that their specialist wants to conduct a what do they call it? I can't. I'm trying to read the doctor's report, but anyway, they need to remove the residual from. All
right, that's very sad news for them. Yep.
It is. It's very sad news for them, and it's happened twice in the past 6 months. And so she's and they basically can't afford it. So we'll be looking at ways we can sort some some money to the specialist doctors who the Cloitram Memorial Hospital, and he's only just started in a new job, quite a senior position with a big oil company over there. So basically, they're putting things off that they should be doing immediately. And I'll be chatting to him about perhaps ways that somebody over here might be able to assist with that, as we did in the past with his getting into his new job. He's a very clever young man, but it's basically over there. It's who you know, not what you know, and it's taken a while. He spent some time out of work, and Rotary there doesn't appear to me to be as supportive as it might be here.
Okay.
And anyway, that's just my opinion. There's only 2 Rotary clubs in Sierra Leone, one in Freetown and the other one in a place called Bow. Um, and there's one Rotaract club, and he's a member of that as well as Freetown. So
excellent.
Anyway,
Anything else, my friend?
No, I just thought I'd because I had mentioned Emmanuel to some others. It's a book. I've now got 4 years of communication. I'm keeping all of our communication, as well as trying now to have a child. They have a 12-year-old, so there's a big gap between she had the first child at 18, and it's 12 years since, and it doesn't seem to be working anymore. So anyway,
okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Next week. Is everybody content that they can find the things in our storage, so they can find the minutes of the last AGM and things like that, or do I need to get them and send them to individuals? Nope. Janet, you've got a report in for the AGM, I believe. And Stephen, you ought to as well, as your
Yep, he's going to do a 1-pager.
Yeah, that's so.
Wait, what am I doing? What's this?
AGM. AGM.
I know. I know.
You just spent half an hour chatting about it, you mongrel.
So anyway, if you're all happy there, we'll just all turn up next week and should have a 6-minute AGM with a bit of luck.
Yep, sounds good to me. Steve Starr, you're next, my friend.
And have we had anybody put their hand up?
No, not at this stage.
That is really sad.
Yep.
Okay.
It is what it is. Stephen.
So I've been told a couple of times, be a bit more descriptive in my stuff I'm up to, so I guess I should. I've been having a few discussions with people around different parts of Australia from a few different clubs about regionalisation. It's been interesting to catch up on, I guess, the perspectives of other clubs and things like that on where they're at in the journey. I guess I won't go too much into it here, but just very curious to keep across that. Putting my other volunteer hats on at the moment, with my JP's hat on, so something that Don would be fairly aware of, the whole thing of when international documents come along. Interestingly, I had one come across recently on the weekend. I spent about an hour doing documents to help a fellow from India apply for his children's passports. And so that was a long pile of interesting stuff. Normally, I don't hear too much about what happens at the other side, but got a message about an hour ago saying, yep, passports got approved and we'll be able to go back for our family member's funeral. And so that's a very good thing. And it's that's a nice little bit of something. Good news. Other than that, I've got a whole bunch of governance stuff for the Honorary Justice Association. Lots of fun there. On the Red Cross side, I've got some training I'm running next week. So I'll be straight out of that and straight into the AGM. So I might be a couple of minutes late to that. Hopefully not. Doing a talk on community sentiment with regards to identifying what the community are thinking and feeling with regards to disasters and everything like that. Bunch of different public speaking things coming up, and I've got my travel to the US next week as well. That's me in a nutshell, because I don't know what else I'm doing because my calendar just tells me where I go now.
So you're basically just kicking back, drinking beer and watching telly.
Yeah.
Fucking oath.
All right, nice people. We're 8 minutes over. Thank you very much for tonight, and we will catch you next week.
I'll
Guys,
I'll
thank
chat
you.
to you before that, Richard.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Good on you.
You all.